Jenn Nizza, as always, it is great sitting down with you. Lots to talk about today. We are about to commemorate, celebrate, depending on who you are, Halloween. And I know Halloween is not a holiday that you particularly love, and with good reason in your experience. Let's just start with Halloween, then we'll get into your past experience. What is it that most concerns you about the way people celebrate this holiday?
Hi, Billy. Great to be with you. What concerns me the most, honestly, is the glorification, in my opinion, of the darkness. And, you can go down your neighborhood block and you will see the skeletons, you'll see the corpse animals, you'll see the jack-o'-lanterns with the scary faces. And it's very daunting, honestly.
Yeah. Well, okay. So something I want to ask you about, because I'd love to get your perspective. You're a former psychic medium, and we'll talk about that in a moment. This is a holiday that does glorify evil. It always has. It's always been a part of it. Yes, there are lots of people who celebrate it in a very positive, way where their kids are in cute costumes and they're out grabbing candy. But one thing I've noticed in the past couple of years, and I would say it's the last 3 to 5 years, is
Mhm.
that Halloween gets the Christmas treatment almost. There's lights now. There's these giant, and again, this stuff always existed, but I feel like it's more prevalent. And I want to get your take on this. These giant skeletons, these giant 10-foot things, even taller than that we're seeing in a lot of people's lawns. Do you think there's been a change in how people celebrate?
Absolutely. I think there's a change that we're seeing in our culture uh, as a whole, honestly. And one of my biggest warnings about Halloween, and I'm not here to say whether to celebrate it or not, but I want to warn people that divination, you touched on the fact that I am a former psychic, and I am noticing that divination, tools of divination, such as the Ouija board, tarot cards, they are marketed more in the Halloween season. They are. Parties are having tarot card readers. You're seeing this in your home goods, your CVS. Your kids are going to these stores, Five Below, and they are glorifying tools of divination, making them seem fun and, that it's no big deal. But interesting how it goes along with the Halloween season, isn't it? There's something there that that there's something demonic there. And there certainly is. My second warning, as somebody who has seen demons manifest, when you look at this decor on people's homes and you're mentioning it, absolutely it's gotten bigger and better, right? But those corpse animals I was speaking of, when I took a walk, I saw one and it looked exactly like a demon that manifested before my eyes when I was a psychic medium. I don't know why some people are able to see into the demonic and see, into the spiritual realm like I did back then, but I did. And that's exactly what a demon looked like. So is Satan and his minions putting these things in your home goods, you're buying them, but you don't even know that's actually what a demon can look like. And now you're putting it on your front lawn.
And I want to unpack that, but I do want to go back to the term divination, because we're obviously talking about being a psychic medium, what you used to do before becoming a Christian. What is divination? Just so people understand, for those who, because a lot of people, they think it's fun, they don't understand the tarot cards. What is itself the definition of divination?
Yeah, divination is when you're going into creation to extract a hidden meaning about something, information supernaturally outside of God's will and boundary. So you're going to the stars, the moon, the sun created things, tarot cards created things, and you're trying to get information, wisdom, or insight and knowledge, hidden knowledge about your life, future, etc.
You know, as we sort of look at this issue, I wanna pivot into your story a little bit, because when you were around 12 years old, this all started for you. And fill in any voids here, but your mother had brought a tarot card reader over to your house. You were very intrigued by it. And what started as what you, I assume, thought was fun and games you were intrigued by, ended up becoming really an obsession, impeding your entire life, taking it over, getting into divination, and you eventually grew up to become a professional psychic who people paid to
Mhm.
try to get their future, to try to connect, as a medium with dead loved ones.
Mhm.
Talk a little bit about all of those years, because it was a couple of decades, what it was like for you
Mhm.
doing that job. What did it feel like? What did you think you were doing? And then we'll talk about what was actually happening.
Okay. Well, when I was 12, I actually had two psychic attacks, and a psychic attack according to my own definition, is when you receive information psychically instead of, reading something, talking to someone. I received information psychically at 12. 13, I had the tarot card reading. And like you said, something that seems innocuous, which is really a satanic uh, it's a satanic practice, reading tarot cards. It's a tool of divination, right? But what seemed innocuous and maybe, like you said, fun, like the Ouija board, people market that as a game, ended up to be an addictive, uh, horrible rabbit hole of destruction. And that was the entryway. I always say there's a gateway or an entryway into the demonic, whether it's tarot cards, Ouija boards, horoscopes, what have you. And then I went down this rabbit hole. I started doing many, many readings, and I got into other tools of divination, numerology, astrology. I used crystals for chakra balancing. I ended up doing automatic writing. And ultimately, I ended up as a psychic medium, believing that I was hearing from deceased people that wanted to get their messages to their loved ones who were still living. I believed I was helping people, Billy. I believed that this was a gift from God that I needed to use to help people that were suffering.
I gotta ask you this because I don't know that I've ever asked you this question. We've talked many times about all of this actually. When you were doing those readings, when somebody came to you and they said, I want to talk to my dead mother, my dead child, you think you're helping them, you're crying with them, it's an emotional experience for you too. Did you ever see the people that you thought you were connecting with, which they were actually, demons, but did you ever actually physically see them or did you just hear from them?
Once in a while. So I always say that the demons manifest in different ways, especially during readings. So how they give you the information varies. So sometimes I would see them, and that would be a way for me to describe. So, of course, that's a familiar spirit. I would maybe see who I thought was your mom. Oh, mom's here. She's got red hair. And I could see the demon, because that's what it is, masquerading as mom. Of course, we don't talk to dead people. And I would be able to describe the person, and that would be how the person could validate. That's a term I used, validations, how that person could validate the information and say, yeah, that's accurate. And that's the hook, Billy, the accuracy in the reading, so that you get hooked into it. And now you are hanging on every word the medium says, fully believing that you're communicating with a deceased person.
So you were doing this job. Obviously, you eventually become a Christian. You renounce all of that. Now you're warning people about it. With Halloween in front of us right now, with this holiday here, and not just Halloween, it's being sold at Five Below all year long. You see spell books, you see all these things, and other stores as well. Barnes and Noble's another one. When you have people in front of you who might say, well, this is just fun and games. Well, I'm going to play with the Ouija board because it's no big deal. These things aren't going to happen to me. What is your biggest warning, just to drive it home for not just the kids, but the parents and adults? Because, by the way, adults, it feels, are increasingly engaging in these things as well.
Oh, absolutely. My biggest warning would be I always say when you do devilish things, you will get devilish outcomes. You will get devilish results. Satan masquerades as an angel of light. Okay. So what you think is fun, what you think is innocent, is actually a tool of the devil, a game of the devil. It's not a game to mess with. This is not something to tinker with. Ouija boards, like you said, any of these things, the readings, do not tinker with them, because now you're opening that door to demons, thereby inviting them into your life. And that is the reality of it. And demonic oppression is very serious. And what you think is a joke today, let's say somebody messes with the Ouija board and like, oh no, it was fine. Nothing happened. Everything was fine. Talk to me in a week from now. Talk to me in 2 weeks from now, when you get sleep paralysis, when you have anxiety, and you have no idea that it was all because you entered into the demonic.
And it's interesting because when you look at the Bible, and for people who aren't Christians, they may be watching this or listening to it and they may be thinking, this sounds ridiculous, right? But when you look at Ephesians 6, it tells us in the Bible that we are in a spiritual battle, that there are realms that we are not seeing, and there are spiritual battles going on. The Bible talks all about all of these things. In fact, many of Jesus's healings were of people who were demonically possessed, right?
Yeah.
And people who read the Bible know this. This is something that has been with us. It is something that, as you were saying, if you open a door to, there are profound dangers for people. And so your life now, just so people understand, and I want people to go and listen to your podcast, Ex Psychic Saved. That's the name of the podcast. They can find it on podcast platforms. And they can also find your YouTube channel, which is incredible, and your website, which has a lot of other great information for them to listen to, watch, and read. But when you look at your life now, just in closing, you are a Christian. That doesn't mean life is going to be easy. How has life changed for you when you look at those many decades as a psychic medium and you now look at where you are today?
Wow. I am walking in the freedom of Christ, a peace that truly does surpass all understanding. I'm off the hamster wheel, Billy. When you're in the new age, you're on the hamster wheel because I always say it's kind of like you're hungry and you're eating all day, but you never get full. Without the Lord Jesus, you can never be fulfilled. I feel fulfilled. I have contentment. God constantly provides for me. And, you're giving the reins over that you never had to start. So, I mean, life is so great with the Lord. No, it's not a cakewalk. We go through problems. We have our trials and traumas, but we have prayer and we have the Lord Jesus, our sovereign God, who's got it all under control. It's amazing.
Well, Jenn, I appreciate you coming on, breaking this all down. Again, Ex Psychic Save. They can find you on social media as well as your podcast on all podcast platforms. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Billy. God bless.